Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here, and it is time for the virtual coffee break. I've got my coffee. Grab your beverage, and let's chat for just a minute, shall we? Had an interesting conversation this afternoon, and the topic of the conversation was around concerns for the future. And of course, I think one of the things that, most people that I'm aware of are thinking about in terms of the future is climate change and the implications that that has for every aspect of life, and that's definitely something that is on my list of concerns for the future. But as far as the creative people that I work with are concerned, there's a probably more immediate concern that I have for the future. And it has to do with artificial intelligence. Now, a few weeks ago, I guess it's probably closer to a few months ago, I did a short episode on the implications for AI on creative industries. But I'm actually concerned for artificial intelligence and the impact that it's going to have, not just on creative industries, but on a larger segment of our population. And ultimately, it could have an impact on our whole population. And the reason that I get concerned about it is because the goal that people have with artificial intelligence is to replace human labor. And one of the problems with that we haven't found a solution to is that as human labor is replaced, human labor is actually a pretty significant part of our economy. And the thing that I think concerns me the most about artificial intelligence is that with machine learning, there are a lot of things that humans have had to do up until now that may very well easily be replaced, and in the not too distant future. And there are a couple of examples, that I can give you right off the bat. One of them is, self-checkout lines at the grocery stores. Every one of those machines that we see, it's like, if you go and look at the self-checkout line at any grocery store, there could be 10 or 20 self-checkout scanners and one person to manage the whole thing. So in effect, what's happened is that in order to save money on labor, the stores have replaced human labor with machine labor. And again, this isn't artificial intelligence as much as it's just a linked network that replaces human jobs. That's the start of it. And then the other thing that I've been seeing, are the things like the Lensa phenomena on Facebook with the different images of avatars. And one of the things that's really interesting there is that, for the source material that they use for those avatar paintings, they are actually using, the illustrations of human illustrators. But AI is taking those illustrations and then converting them to be a representation of the image that they're given. And so one of the things that then becomes a question is, well, if you're using someone's illustration as source material for that, do they deserve compensation, and who owns the original? And those kinds of questions haven't been answered yet adequately. And so as a result, one of the things that we've got to look at is that there is a segment of creative people, the illustrators, that are not being paid for their labor, and as a result, they no longer have sustainable work. And as a result, they no longer are able to participate in the economy, based on the work that they do creatively. They have to find some other way to earn a living and to, pay for goods and services that they need. But the thing that I think is my biggest concern overall is that when we remove labor as one of the cornerstones of our economy, as more and more human jobs become doable by machines, computers, and artificial intelligence, what implications does that have for the economy as a whole, right? Because human needs not going anywhere, the way that it gets satisfied changes. So the ways that we've learned to exchange over the last 5,000 years are going to be rendered obsolete. So one of the things that's at stake there is the actual value of currency, because part of that is based on labor. There have been arguments all along that currency really doesn't have any value on its own. But one of the things that it does represent is the value of a person's time, energy, and expertise. They get paid for things that they do. And when that's taken away, what then happens to the value in the exchange? So as I think about these things, it's easy for me to go down a rabbit hole of hopelessness. Because quite honestly, one of the things that I get concerned about is that if creativity is no longer, a human realm, what does that mean for this large segment of people that are creative? I think that I don't have a lot of answers for these questions, but I have a lot of questions that are starting to form. And so when I think about, the future that we've got and the things that I'm most concerned about, along with climate change, I think that AI and the transition that we have for an economy that has labor as a central part of the value exchange, what are we going to do? And I had someone in the conversation was just saying, you have to offer people hope. And I said, well, when it comes to this right now, I don't have a lot of hope. I think this is actually one of those places where humans might have actually painted themselves into a corner, and it's going to be really difficult for us to find a way out of it. And there are going to be some people that say, well, just let the machines take care of everything. And quite honestly, the other thing that's at issue there then is the sovereignty that we have over our own lives. And it's like one of the things that we're able to do as people whose labor has value is to exercise some individual sovereignty. Well, if the machines are doing the things that we actually can contribute to the economy and to the culture and to the world, then what happens to our sovereignty? And these are questions that I don't think have been adequately answered yet. And I don't have any kind of a pat answer for you. But I would like to encourage you to think on these questions, because I really feel like that AI is just as timely a concern as climate change is, and it's going to have just as large of an impact on humans as climate change is. So those are my thoughts. I don't like the feeling of hopelessness, but when it comes to a future where humans don't really have an external reason to contribute or to, participate or to, or to add their gifts to the world, it makes me wonder, what becomes important then? What do we value? And I really would like us to start talking about that more. And I would really like us to start looking at what is it going to take for us to get through such an upheaval. What I told the person that today, where the only thing that I could have any glimmer of hope about is that I really feel like that these kinds of transitions in the past have really led to huge shifts in our worldview and in our paradigm. And I have a feeling that that's the thing that's going to make this one survivable, is that there should be an accompanying shift in our overall collective consciousness and individual consciousness that allows us to integrate the new reality that's ahead. But for right now, it's hard to have a vision for that. So those are the things that are on my mind today. It's a little bit deep, a little bit heavy, but every now and then I go there. I appreciate your time and your attention, and if you have anything to contribute to this, by all means, get in touch, would you? I'll be back again tomorrow with another coffee break, and kind of hoping that the conversations tomorrow will lead me on a more hopeful tangent. So there you have it. Thanks as always for your time and your attention, and have a good whatever it is where you are. So long.